Hey guys, how's it going? My name is always and welcome back to Stoneblock 2. In the last episode, we were working on... Oh man, what did we do? I can't... I started thinking what we were gonna... Oh, right. We were working on the barn stuff. And specifically looking at trying to get fluid cells for the cows so that we can store all the wonderful fluids and do whatever we want with them as we, well, get them. So that is something that's going to be a much bigger project further down the line. I'm still working on trying to get the last couple of cows. These guys take forever to be ready to breed again, which they actually are. So let's grab 4, 5, 6. And are we going to get lucky with what we need? I hate that you can eat the wheat. It's really annoying. And which... There we go. So... No. So far, no luck. And... Let's see, I think one of you are ready. So, I don't remember what... Melodic alloy. Okay. I was like, I don't remember what the melodic alloy gives. I believe that's the stellar alloy. Yeah, that's a 2% chance. It's not going to happen anytime soon. But I just now noticed that there's a Christmas hat. It is the holiday season, so everything in Minecraft is all festive, at least in modded. And yeah, what we are going to be doing today. So I did a little bit of stuff off camera. For one, you might notice there's no hole here. That is because I ran, if we know which way to go, I've ran the glass cables this way and all the way to over here. Now, if we want to grab, let's see, it's 2 blocks in. If we want to grab the cable, we can just do something like this, and here we are. So this is good enough to attach to our drawer controller, and then all we'd have to do is just something like this to get over to the actual controller. Oops. And hook things up. Now there is a couple problems with all of this. Namely, one thing we need to do is we need to be able to hook this up. Maybe if we go above it, it'll be better. And yeah, basically we just need to hook up our mob farm to our Applied Energistics system, and that's going to make our lives a lot easier. So we can get rid of a lot of the stone. And I can always replace it. I do have stone being produced whenever I want it to. And in fact, we will probably replace it, but we can kind of make things a little bit nicer. Going like so. Alright, so lag spike. There we go. So yeah, we have Applied Energistics that direction. We have already had the Applied Energistics over here, but I did put some tunnels so that we can run cables to go down here and all that kind of fun stuff. So basically, we are good to hook up a lot of automation, and that's kind of the plan today. What I want to do is I want to teach the Applied Energistics system a few more things, which I did attach another interface to this guy, and eventually we'll have more molecular assemblers, and this will be basically a cube. But there is a couple things we need to teach the system how to make. So I taught it wool. I want to teach it how to make smart cables that are dense smart cables. And is there any like just normal dense cables? Or are they all... Okay, they are all the same. So we're going to have to teach it how to make the covered dense cables. And we can use our awesome interface terminal just to put these in here. Because dense cables are going to be super important. Now, what are dense cables exactly? Well, as I've kind of talked about before, these normal glass cables will transport exactly 8 channels. No more, no less. And you can see with the smart channel thing, only 8 channels. The dense cables will transport 32 channels, which is the same amount as the ME controller. So they are much more expensive, but they are much more powerful. And for some things, like our farms over here, 8 channels is probably going to be enough. However, for a machine area, 8 channels is not going to be enough. We're going to have a channel right here for our drawer controller, and then we're going to have a bunch of automation for a bunch of these guys, which is what I want to do, like I said, but that means we're going to need a lot more channels over here. So we could make a ton of dense cables and just bring them all over here, and that would work. However, it's not very useful. So what we're going to do, before we get too far into this, I want to teach the system how to make a couple other things. First, I do want to teach it how to make storage buses. Storage buses are super useful, and we're probably going to use them quite a bit. Now, do we know how to make pistons? We do, and sticky pistons. So that should be fine. So we should be able to make a storage bus. And I also taught the system, by the way, how to make the void upgrades and the upgrade templates and the storage upgrades because, well, I was having a little bit of problems. I hadn't checked over here in a while, and I forgot to do something. So basically, this was full. All of this stuff was full of things because this guy was stuck with iron. And what had happened was our drawers filled up. So we had 2048 of iron, which we currently have close to that of coal. But our iron drawer filled up, and that meant that this system was no longer putting any of the metal bars it could not smelt. So I went ahead and upgraded the iron. I put an emerald upgrade in there, and I put void upgrades on everything. If we want to increase what we can store, we can put emerald upgrades on them all. But at the very least, nothing will fill up anymore, and this can just infinitely run. And we'll eventually get, you know, all the diamonds and all that kind of stuff that we want. So yeah, I fixed that problem. I considered, do we want to upgrade this guy with some speed? We might, but at the same time, I don't think so. I don't know. That is something that is a maybe. That we want to do at some point, but at the same time, like, I don't think we really need it. So yeah, that was kind of a problem that I had that I did go ahead and fix. But let's grab a storage bus, and we should be able to just go ahead and hook up this guy, and we'll get some cables. And everything should be nice and neat. Perfect. Is it the prettiest? No, not really. I could probably, like, move this over one. And then we could put some stone here. And just fill this all back in. And I think that's what we'll go ahead and do. So that is fine. And then we just fill this in with stone. And everything looks fine. Cool. But the more important thing is, if I come over here, we should see what's something that's over there. The loot chests. We should see all of our loot chests. And this is something that we could also automate from the system and just put it into the loot crate opener, get the loot, put it back into the system type of thing. We might actually end up doing that at some point, but right now, meh, doesn't matter too much. So I don't expect needing too many channels over at the farms. We're going to have the one for the mob farm. We're going to have some terminals over there eventually. So probably just a crafting terminal. And then what we're probably going to do is something special with this guy, which is known as a subnetwork. It's a complicated thing that we'll get to, but it doesn't actually use many channels. It only uses one channel, I think, if my memory is correct. And it's a super, like, effective way to make complicated systems. Let's just leave it at that. But it'll be useful, and it'll be awesome. So, we're going to need a lot of channels this way, and the way we can do that is by making something else. And teaching the system how to make a P2P tunnel. And I want just normal fluix crystals, not the complicated ones. Now this will make, our system already knows how to make the engineering processors and the flux crystals and all that kind of stuff. Are you... That is the whitelist. Okay. So, oh, it made a bunch of them. That's a little strange. But I don't really care too much. So let's go ahead and get the P2P tunnels taught to the system. And this is just another crafting recipe. And what P2P tunnels do is they allow you to... Basically, it's a tunnel. You always need to make 2 of them at a time. But basically, these things will transfer channels over long distances over a single channel. Well, I think it might actually be 2, but it'll transfer over long distances a lot easier than just, making a bunch of dense cables. Now we do need to have some dense cables. Let's actually just do cable because, oh, they're not called cables. We're going to need a couple of these, which we have a bunch of string now because our mob farm is hooked up. So we're going to get a couple of the dense cables, and then what we need to do is we need to grab another thing, the quartz fiber. Now quartz fiber is very important for this and is kind of an interesting thing. So P2P is point-to-point networking, as the hot tip says, and we're going to need to rearrange this stuff a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this, and we're going to put smart cable here, and let's just break all of this stuff. So we can leave a lot of this kind of as is, but some of it we're going to want to kind of rework. And I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and separate these guys. And that should be fine. So at this point, we can also get some things called cable anchors. Those might be good to know how to make. So let's do that. Cable anchor. So cable anchors are really important things. It's a copper tin. It is any metal ingot. Let's have it do aluminum first, because aluminum is not something that I'm going to be using too much. Right, it doesn't know about the aluminum anymore because the aluminum's over here. So aluminum is something we have quite a bit of. We have more copper, but aluminum is something that's not nearly as useful as copper or other metals. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Those are cable anchors, and then we do need to know how to make the Certus quartz cutting knife, which is also not too terrible. And that should be good. So can we make the Certus quartz cutting knife? No, because we don't have any Certus quartz right now in the system because they're all over here. So, Certus quartz. Cable anchors are super important. So let's just go ahead and make one of these. And, or I guess we're going to do 2 recipes worth. And what this is going to allow us to do is if we place a dense, how do we want to do this? There is better ways to do this, but if we put a dense cable here, it connects. So what we can do is we can place a cable anchor, and if we put the cable on there, it will no longer connect. Now, this guy does have 32 channels. You know, the easier way to do this would probably be colors. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. Let's pick a color. I guess we could do we have like a orange? Are they all called dyes? Yes. So the only dyes we have is gray. Do we have any roses? Or what are they called? Poppies. Do we have any sort of dye stuff? Plants of any sort. Do we have anything in here? We have mushrooms. That's not quite what I want. Do we have any flowers in here? This is where I put all the stuff. No, but we could make some blue dye. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to make some blue dye, and can we make something else? I do have an orange tulip. I have dandelions. That will also work. So we'll make some yellow dye, we'll make some blue dye, and we're going to turn some of these cables into blue, and it is 8 of those to turn into yellow. Alright, well, I guess we can do that. So cable, can we make 4 more of these? We're missing flux crystals, and it doesn't know how to make them anymore because I disconnected that. That is fine. Okay, so let's grab our blue cables, and rather than making things complicated, we're going to do something different. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach a P2P tunnel here. Now, what this means is this guy is going to send 32 channels into the P2P tunnel. And what we can then do is go grab some more cables that are dyed. We'll do yellow because that's the color I saw. We can hook this up like so. And now, cables of different colors will not attach, except to glass cables. The normal fluix colors will attach to any of them. However, blue and yellow or blue and orange or whatever colors will not attach to each other. So we don't need to use the cable anchors for these guys, but we're going to use it for this just to make things a little bit easier. Now, what this is doing is sending all these channels through this line. Now, this line is no longer a part of a network. And so what we're going to do is about right here, we're going to put the other tunnel. And at the end of it, we're going to put the dense cables. Now, we're going to want to bring the dense cables out to this point, and then we can send, you know, all these channels over here, and we can do dense cables a little bit more often over here if need be. Now, the thing is this is not hooked up. This is still offline. Why is that? Well, this line doesn't actually have any power. It's not connected to anything. These networks, basically, this is kind of hard to explain, hard to understand, but basically this P2P tunnel, I need one more thing, I forgot about that, but this P2P tunnel will basically looks here, and we're going to connect it to the other P2P tunnel over there. And it looks at it like this connects directly to this. Now the problem with that is there's no way that this is all connected, and what we need to do is we need to power this line. Not like that. Alright, we need to power this line like so. So quartz fibers are really interesting because they do not transfer any items whatsoever. 0 channels on a quartz fiber. However, they transfer power. So this line is now powered. This device is now online. It is unlinked, but these are both online, and this will be online once we link those up. So let's pretend this cable anchor and this cable anchor are the P2P networks, the P2P tunnels. What I'm trying to say is that anything in between, it just kind of ignores and looks at whatever is on the ends. Once these two are linked, it's like these two are just connected. That is the simplest way to think about it, and it's very powerful, but it can be very confusing if you use a lot of them. Now we do need to link them, and that is something I kind of forgot about. I believe it's a card? Memory card, yes. So can we make that? We need 2 gold, and we need a calculation processor. So let's get that crafting. We can go run and get some gold, and then you'll see why this is so powerful. So far this has been really confusing, and it's always confusing for me even, and I've done this before. I always forget about the memory card though, and I believe how it's used is you shift right click, and then right click, and now this should be 1 channel, device online. We should be able to see all of our gold and all of our metals, and there everything is. So now, and then we can shift right click and clear that because these guys are already attached. So basically what we just did is this cable connects to the cable down there with nothing in between. But in reality, this cable is in between, and we had to power it. But this will use no channels. If we actually took this guy for just a second and put it right here, you'd see that there's actually there's 2 channels. And the 2 channels are this P2P network and this one. Tunnel, not network. But so we're just powering with this cable the 2 P2P tunnels, and that's it. Nothing else is being used on that. If we tried to connect that to anything else, it wouldn't, like, we could connect it to other things and we'd have the channels, but it would also be using those channels. So it's usually just a good idea to just transfer power. We could also put a controller on this and power it with that, or an energy acceptor if those existed / were in this mod. So yeah, there is a lot of different things you can do, but the basic gist is this cable connects to that cable down there, and that's all that's important. So now we have 32 channels down there, and we can use them how we want. So what we're going to do, oops, I do need that smart cable because I need to put it back. So what we're going to do is we're going to start doing a little bit of automation. And so first thing we should probably do is get some interfaces. And I'm going to hook things up as we need it. But one big thing that we're going to want to automate is the metallurgy confuser. And that's probably where we're going to stop for today. But I want to enrich some coal. And we're then going to take this compressed carbon, put it in the infusion factory, and we're going to throw the iron in there. This is going to let us make steel. So I changed my plans for the metallurgic, the mechanism stuff. We're going to have a total of 4 metallurgic infusers. So 4, we could do it across the top, and then 4 on the, or 3 on the bottom. We're going to have the crusher, the energized smelter, and the osmium compressor on the bottom, because I want to be able to make steel. And that's what we're doing right here. So we take the carbon, we get enriched iron, and then if we do the same thing with the carbon again, or with the enriched iron and carbon, we will get steel. And this is super useful. This is a really quick and easy way. It makes steel blend, which is, in fact, steel. We just need to smelt it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do is I need to make more infusion stuff, and we need to hook up power and all that kind of stuff. But before we do too much, there is a couple cool things we can make happen with these cable anchors. Cable anchors are actually really powerful. Actually, no, over here, we're going to want something else. And we're going to have to be a little bit creative about how we do all of our processing and whatnot. We're probably going to just put interfaces down here. So I'll tell you guys what. Let's go ahead. I'm going to grab, I'm going to get a good bit of steel. And let's see, 7 of those. I'm going to let this kind of process. And I'm going to get just a bunch of steel so that I can make these steel casings. And I'm going to go ahead and get all the steel casings ready so that we can make all of the things we're going to need, which metallurgic infusers don't even require steel casings. Can we get a couple more metallurgic infusers? We have the interfaces. Metallurgic infusers, no, we can't just do that, but we can. We're going to need, so we're going to need redstone, diamond, and obsidian. So we're going to need 3 more, so that is 6 furnaces. And 1, 2, 3. Perfect. So I will go ahead and make 3 steel casings. And I'm going to kind of set up some wiring and whatnot over here and get ready for automation of Mekanism. So that is what I'm going to work on, and I'll be back once we have a little bit of that done. Alright, so I have some of the steel casings and a bunch of things in my inventory. Still have a cow halter in my inventory as well, which is unfortunate, but I did a little bit of wiring, and we're going to do a little bit of experimentation together. So there's a couple things I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work, but I did kind of cut myself off. I kind of started saying something and then forgot. Cable anchors, really useful. We can turn them into facades. Now, we'll make some stone facades because why not? Facades are really neat for hiding all of the wiring, because we can do things like, you know, this. If I can maybe click the right pieces. So not the right place. Let's get the wires on the hotbar. So for example, we could put a facade here and we can run the cable through it. And it looks a lot nicer. We can make things kind of hidden. And I realized when I said that how I'm going to be doing stuff down here doesn't really matter all that much. So probably not going to worry about any of that kind of stuff there. But it might come up later. So cable anchors make facades. There is something similar for conduits from Ender.io, which I gotta remember what those are called. They are also facades. Yeah, conduit facades. But those are a little bit more complicated. Also really useful, but a little bit more complicated, but also easier to use. You have to have a painting machine to actually paint them whatever block you want them to be, but they are still a full block, and you can place them a lot easier than the cable facades. You saw how much I had trouble with just placing one. for the anchors, for the Applied Energistics ones. So, all that aside, we have a bunch of interfaces, really cool. Now, the machines that we're going to be making is the energized smelter, the crusher, and the osmium compressor. Now, the osmium compressor needs a little bit more than the other two, but do I not have any more patterns? I have 9 patterns. Okay. But we're going to need to do a couple of things first of all. So, first things first, we should probably teach how to make all the metallurgic stuff that we're going to want. And one of the big things is going to be making iron into enriched iron. We can get rid of that. And then teaching from there steel blend. So let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, here we go. Steel blend. So enriched iron makes steel blend. Now that is super important for making steel, and that is why we have the carbon guy. Now I do want to do a quick little experiment. And we're going to need some redstone. So the other thing that we're going to want to teach the system is the enriched items. What are these? Compressed. So we're going to want to teach these to the system as well. But we're going to do a little bit different than what you might think. So compressed redstone is going to be the first thing we make. And do we have any redstone compressed? We do not. We're also going to want some osmium, if I can spell correctly. And osmium is going to turn into well, the circuit, and then we're also going to get iron. I messed that one up. So I don't want to have the redstone or the coal or the diamond or the refined obsidian in the kind of recipe, because we're going to supply those else otherwise. So let's see something. We are going to need some osmium turned into control circuits, so we might as well get that. And we can do a little bit of a test. So the test is pretty simple. What happens if I put a chest down and we put a cable here, and we have extract always active, let's say on brown, and we have this being insert on brown, extract on red, and insert into, let's just make it easy, this chest, insert on red. So basically this will be inserted on brown, which is what this is going to be. And the question is, does the site configuration matter? So this is configured for energy. If we put this stuff in here, it doesn't go in. Alright, that is good to know. So what if we change this to extra, the purple? The redstone goes in. And if we change this to input, there's the osmium, and we can auto. Okay, so that tells me what I'm going to need to do, and what I'm going to need to do is a lot of side usage with these cabling. So cabling with this is going to be kind of annoying. First of all, the enrichment chamber can no longer sit there. The enrichment chamber is going to sit in the middle. Metallurgy confusers are going to be on the sides. So we're going to set one of these guys up, and then we'll get back to all of them. So we're going to need 3 sides. We need input, output, and the infusing material. So for this one, it will normally just be carbon. So that is fine. So let's get rid of these guys. And do I have a Yeta wrench on me? I do. Really cool trick with the Yeta wrench, if I can get things. You can cycle and see only what you want to see. And then shift right click, we can get rid of these. So what we're going to need to do is just destroy this entire area. And we're going to set this up so that, let's say, let's just turn all these off. Now it should still get energy. Yeah, energy is fine. We're going to put this on input on the top, the extra on the left, and the output on the back. So if we grab conduits, we're going to need to do something like this. And this. Alright, so that is messy. We'll do something similar down here. And so on and so forth. So the thing that we need to do is, if we look at, so compressed carbon, the things we're going to be making with compressed carbon is iron and compressed carbon, and then enriched iron. And so that is it. That's all I care about. Redstone is osmium and iron. Diamond is obsidian powder, enriched alloys, and that's it. And the obsidian is just reinforced alloys. So basically, we cannot have carbon and redstone together. So we're going to need two different interfaces over here. One for the carbon, one for the redstone. And so we'll just set it up like this so that we can do one of each. And I'm going to need chests. So that is a bit of a problem, but we can move this over. We can do something like this. And you can see I used conduits to connect through the energy. We're going to do something similar with conduits to get to this guy. And so I'm going to need, let's just get 2 more conduits. And this is where having terminals over here would be useful, but we'll get there. So conduits, we're just going to need 2 of these. And I'm going to set up the carbon guy, and then we'll go from there with everything else. So there is some conduits. Now, we're also going to want to hook up the enrichment chamber, and we'll see about anything else. So we just put these guys like so. You know what? Let's make it nice and clean. Okay, perfect. So now we can put stone. Actually, we can't put stone there, but that will be perfect. So what we can do is we can put chests on either side, and we're going to put it like this. Now I could make it so that one chest is in the middle, but that's going to make things more complicated. So over here, we're going to put steel blend and the enriched iron, and then what I want to do is I want to configure this to have, we're going to store a stack of compressed carbon. Now, we're going to need to teach the system how to make compressed carbon, but this one will have the enriched and that. And we'll put redstone in one of these. So making all of these things into factories is going to be really good later. But basically, I got to remember which one's which. So input is on the top, so this is going to be an insert. This one is going to be an insert on red. So what we can do is we can have a guy like so, and we'll have to get some filters and all that kind of stuff, but we can extract on red, always active, and this can extract on green, always active, and this can be insert on blue. Let's go with blue. Why not? And this is the output, so extract on blue, always active. So let's go grab a filter. And the filter for this one is going to be for carbon. Now, we're going to do just compressed carbon. I don't think we'll need filters for anything else, but let's go ahead and make sure that the system knows how to make compressed carbon. And what we can do then is put the I guess we'll do compressed over here because there's not going to be too much that we need to actually like worry about. We're going to have 4 of these guys. This will be connected to this guy. And then we can always like disconnect cables across so that we can keep everything separate. But we'll do this to be like, this will be the diamond one, and it will be very similar. The left side will be the infusion, the bottom will be the input, and the back will be the output. So output here is going to have to be blue. Oh, it does it not have a yet a wrench? South. Why does it not want to connect there? Is that not the back? Is that the front? Yeah, that's the front. That's the back. I know how this game works. So blue, always active. This will be inserted on red later, but let's just make it insert on brown for right now. So basically, I'm waiting for this to be done so we can do this. So if we put config 64, if we put a little bit of compressed carbon in there, it'll get taken in and placed in here. We have 240, which is 80 times 3. But if we put a bunch of compressed carbon into the system, it would actually go right here. And so what we can do is the system knows how to make compressed carbon. So it's going to put the coal in here, and it wants to make that. So once it has the ability to do that, we're going to need input on the bottom, output out the back. I did it again, didn't I? Output out the back. Extract on blue, always active, and it should go in here. And we should see any carbon in the system. Actually, this I'll put on blue. Insert on blue. Does it need to be auto eject? Don't know, but if we put these in here, they're going to go into here. This is a little weird, so input on red. So we can do this up. Let's see, this. Does this have capability to... This is not connected to the system. Okay, why is it not connected to the system? We should see troubleshooting. It's awful. 3 channels. And that goes that way. Continuous line. Might be because of the conduits. Conduits may be acting weird. So let's see if we do something like, is this guy connected? Can we throw the, that is 100% connected. That is finally gone. So, right, we need that part to do that. Okay. So we can go ahead and put all the carbon in here. That's fine. And it's going to store all the carbon. This guy is going to need a crafting card in order to work like I want it to. Crafting card is not too terrible to make. It is a basic card with a crafting table, so let's go get one of those. And we should see the system go, hey, I need some, let's see, do we have everything for that. So we can make crafting cards. That is something we might want to automate later, but it's not that big of a deal. But we just put a crafting card in here, and it's going to start dumping in coal. It's going to try to craft whatever it can, and I realize, okay, that is connected to everything, so we need insert on green. Insert on green. If we take all the coal out, I wish I knew why this was not like extracting items. So on the bottom and on the back it should be, this is weird. Is this, that has a stack of coal in it. Let's see, this is extract. You know, always active would be helpful for that. But I don't know why that is not extracting out the back. Because it's not attached? Yeah, it's not attached. Why are you not attaching? Because we see that is properly attached. Let's see. There was a crash. Alright. Alright, well, it is working now. There was a crash. Not Tinkers. It said something about Tinkers, but Ender.io and Mekanism just did not like each other right there for a minute. But what is going on is all of our compressed carbon is going in here. Now, eventually, this guy will fill up, and this guy will continue crafting until there is a stack of compressed carbon in here. Now, we're going to do the same thing for all of the other compressed things. And what we're going to probably want to do is upgrade this to a factory, probably at least a tier 2. But, yeah, basically, this is how we automate things. And you can see the Applied Energistics system is trying to continue make those. This is going to take all of the compressed carbon. We're going to put diamond in here. We're going to put redstone and then obsidian in these guys. Hook them up much like these two. And then we can make some cool things to make everything nice. I should probably... Let's get the painting. Painting machine. Maybe if I spell painting right, it will show up. But painting machine, we'll get one of these. That'll be one of the machines for Ender.io. And yeah, basically this is going to be the automation. Now this episode has gone on a lot longer than I anticipated and was planning on, but this is what I wanted to get done. So we have the P2P tunnel to bring extra channels over here. I'm still going to try to be smart about using all these interfaces. You know, are we going to smelt with the redstone furnaces from here, or are we going to smelt with Mekanism stuff? Mekanism might be a little bit faster by using speed upgrades and factories, but they do require a lot more power. So I'm not entirely sure which one we'll use, but you know, we can do a lot of that kind of stuff pretty easily, just by you know, picking and choosing as we want. But getting all the automation down here, I'm going to try to be smart, use interfaces and chests, not just single machines getting an interface, unless that makes sense. But all things considered, this is a good start for automating all of Mekanism, and once we have that, we can start getting a lot of fun stuff done, and make our machine room a lot better. So that is going to be where we end off today. Next time, we'll probably finish up this thing. I'm going to do all of the automation for all the metallurgic diffusers, off camera. Do I want to make some tier installers? You know what? We could probably go ahead and do at least one. Let's go ahead and make a tier installer, and that'll make my life a little bit easier. And if need be, I will, you know, filter things and all that kind of fun stuff. But let's go ahead and get this to be a factory. Always auto split. And that is going to be good to get. Are we actually? So we are actually starting to get carbon stored. Now, if there is excess carbon, it will just stay in the system. But it will not craft anymore once this is full of a stack. So, good to know. That is how it's going to be. And, you know, we have the coal for right now. We're going to do the same thing with redstone, diamond, and refined obsidian, which is things we're going to need to make. But that is for another time. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Next time, we might continue doing stuff with machines. We might get back into some quests. It's been a while since we've done a quest. We could probably bust out a lot of this stuff, especially the storage stuff. We can get a lot of this stuff done if we wanted to, and go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!